So dicking around on the internet, I love anything like Egyptian and all that stuff, and I think the layout of like the map and the country and the world as we know it is not really like the true layout of things. And so there's this map of I think it's called the Isis Temple in Arizona in the Grand Canyon. So that's Isis Temple. But then you see how out
and it's not an actual temple, right?
No, it's just a mountain that just looks kind of like. So there's these like Isis. Other mounds that come out down there.
Obama built it.
And so they're saying that if you Photoshop in that, they're saying that was probably some sort of like Sphinx. So that's the photo, and that those mountains that we see were actually the paws of like a Sphinx that was in Arizona.
Okay.
And then the Great Flood comes over it, wears it off.
Yeah.
Okay, really quick. I heard a story as well about the Grand Canyon that there is a staircase and a cave that leads to an underground city in the Grand Canyon that was found in like the early 1900s, like 1915. Okay. This guy went out and like wanted to
excavate.
Thank you, excavate it.
We got there.
Dude, it's late. But anyways, he ends up going back to the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian funds an expedition out there. They go out there, and then next thing you know, he comes back, and they're like, we're not interested in it. And then forever since, it's been guarded by the military, and it's like covered. But he went down there and found like Egyptian hieroglyphs and all kinds of stuff in this underground city in the sandstone.
And I heard that they brought out a bunch of artifacts
Bro.
that he was excited about. Like this is going to change the way that we view like Egypt and all that stuff. And then the Smithsonian's like, we never got any of that stuff. It's gone.
Here's the weird part about it is like I believe something like that could happen, but like what possible benefit is it to like
hide it?
Like they're like, we got to keep them tourism dollars rolling into Egypt. I mean, we don't
no, because I think like, at the core, this goes back to like, you know, the Rothschilds and all that stuff. He
was trying to think of a name who wouldn't come and murder us.
Yeah.
I don't think the Rothschilds
are still
around.
If you look at a certain point in our history, like when all of our like modern school systems were all put into place, blah, 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 blah. Apparently, like before all of that, there was this empire called the Tartarian Empire that had all this advanced technology and stuff.
Dude,
and during the mud flood, which
advanced
is like
technology like tartar sauce for fish sticks.
Right. Because fish is disgusting. So they invented a way to eat it.
Watch yourself.
Oh, dude, I hate seafood.
But is it seafood if it's a fish stick? We'll discuss that later.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I think like the benefit...
say it again. Tartarians?
The Tartarian Empire is like this empire that's just been erased from history. But they had all these like flying ships, and they said that they had free energy and all that. So then what happened was after the mud flood, which could be a ton of different things. It could be a pole shift, a meteorite that goes by that hits and like wipes out a bunch of stuff. They then say...
He's not making it up.
It's online.
This is not off the top of his head.
I never just wing it. It's all in there.
I was like, he just made that up.
So that they're like, they've gone and they've changed our history, so we're completely dependent upon oil. So I think that gets into, was Egyptian artifacts and temples there? Well, if it was, then their story of Egypt and that, you know, they just were built by slaves.
I'm following along, and I'm like, I can't even like strategize about like, dude, what am I doing next week? And like, if this is true, then there's people out there like, listen, we found this oil, but to make sure we can make the most money out of it, you have to completely erase history. I mean, hey, it's cool. I'm actually have to read about it. Tartarian Empire.
Yeah,
I've never even heard that. Even during COVID, you were just holding that one back.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in here, man. I can't. It's like teaching somebody to like red pill them. It's like, you know, a little bit at a time. So like my family, when they were first getting into it, they were like, "How do you like do all this?" And it's like, well, you guys just turned on the fire hose all at once, and I've just been like drinking out of a drinking fountain my whole life. So like, The knowledge is in there.
Yeah.
But people that are like, oh yeah, I want to learn about this stuff. It's like, you got to take it a little bit at a time. Otherwise,
one thing I like about you fielding though is that it's not a hill to die on for you.
What do you mean?
It's like if I prove to you that the Tartarians are not true, you're fine with it.
Yeah. It's just like I just like learning.
Yeah.
If we put Fielding in like a
Different points of view.
spaceship and launced him up to space, and he gets up there and he's like, "Oh, Earth is round."
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
I'd be like, okay,
All right.
and then I'd reach out the window and be like, yep, but it is an ocean out there. So
It's not the best.
it's like yeah.
Well, I nailed the ocean
You
part.
can't corner me.
I like it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so funny thing that happened to me. I have to show you guys this picture really quick. So over the holiday, the old Christmas holiday, I wake up in the morning and I go into my living room, and so I've got 3 dogs, and they have a tendency to like get stuffed animals and like chew them up, right?
Yeah.
You know, slobbery and gross, and they rip them up or whatever, and they leave them in the living room on our rug.
Flipping animals.
So I come in and I see what looks like a chewed up stuffed animal. And so I go up to this thing and I pick it up with my bare hands and took a look at it, only to realize that it wasn't.
Oh, jeez.
It actually was a
Bro.
ripped in half.
Gosh.
Fielding will never have a pet now.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
He's
they
like,
bring-
I was like, I wasn't going to anyway, but now.
Yeah, they bring those inside. Yeah,
And it actually wasn't my dogs, it was my cat.
I was
So
gonna
my
say,
cat killed it, brought it inside to show me, and left it there.
That means the cat loves you, though.
Yeah, it does.
I learned something else about dogs.
Just touching it nasty, like shoot up dead bird blood everywhere.
I have a kind of true story like that, but it's more about aging with pets that also are aging. So our dog started getting old, would leave little poops sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But my eyes started going bad, and so I got up in the morning one night, and I thought it was like one of my kids, like,
Right.
I don't know, because it had a unique shape, right?
Yeah, it's probably a toy.
And I noticed it right as I was about to place my foot on it. But you're kind of going, your eyes are half
Yeah.
open. So I was like, well, it's just a toy. It was a turd. Barefoot. Between my toes.
That's
Then you
the
have to
worst.
come to terms that you decided to step on.
Yes. This was avoidable.
Yeah, this is avoidable.
I mean, it's the dog's fault on some level, but I'm a human,
Yeah.
And I don't know. So animals, I don't know. Still probably worth it, Fielding. We had a dog.
We've developed several ciphers.
Was murdered in Dallas, Texas. He was shot by a sniper hiding in a building near his.
Holy fuck!
A bizarre flash occurs, and the plane has vanished. Upon
The WEF is an organization.
Fire away, Houston. Vector good. Bye-bye.
So, welcome back. Connect the dots. Episode 7.
Wow.
It's gone by pretty quick.
It has.
Hey, and we're celebrating something special today, too.
Oh, yeah.
100 subs, baby.
100 subs. Oh, yeah. Not sub sandwiches.
No, subscribers.
Yep.
So-
Now, that's more family than we have, I think.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
We're
that
probably getting into actual crazy people.
because I'm like 30,
It's exciting.
Yeah.
30 to maybe 40 to maybe 50 people. It's
Between all
like
three of us.
family, friends.
My family's doing a good job supporting me. I got cousins.
Yeah,
I got brother-in-laws. I got my mom, of course. My
Yeah.
mom, now that she's figured out that she can go on and like,
how to subscribe?
she's like, every video is going to be liked at least once.
Nice.
That's perfect.
That's
That's
what
what we
moms
want.
are for. Yeah, that's what moms are for.
Of course.
Always there to support. which is cool. So you can find us on YouTube,
That's awesome, though.
Rumble. Check out our Instagram,
Insta.
Facebook, and then not to mention, all of us are posting stuff on our personal social media.
That's true.
Too. So
That's right.
You get into that web of like all the different social media, you're gonna be able to follow us.
Well,
everywhere.
it begs
I
the
know.
question: did it really happen if it isn't on Insta?
I think that's a conspiracy in
Yeah.
itself, and I think the answer.
I mean,
the fast
I'd
answer is
argue no.
Yeah.
No. That's going to be archived when aliens find our destroyed planet, because we'll kill all of ourselves with nuclear weapons. They'll
It's
find
happened before. That's what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. It happened on Mars, and that's why we're
I
here.
have more
Yep.
faith in that. Trust the prophet. Follow the prophet.
Well,
Whichever one you want to
Yeah,
follow.
to the nuclear bunker.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's where we're going to end up.
Yeah. Didn't
we?
Zuckerberg he's building like a multi-million-dollar bunker in Hawaii?
Yes. And he's like, where should I build a gigantic bunker? I know. Where all those Hawaiians are being currently displaced. I'm just like,
There's some great property out
I'm
there.
like,
Yeah.
Just became
Well, you
available.
look at how
The world-
it becomes available conveniently.
yeah, I'm just telling you right now.
Him
though,
and Oprah and the
I'm starting
Rock.
to think that the James Bond movies were documentaries about real
my gosh.
evil villains.
Evil
I just picture Zuckerberg like, nah, I do jujitsu.
Yeah.
And they steal land. Oh, so wait, we can't say that. We love him because we're on his freaking show. You know what I'm saying?
Here's
Good for you, Zuckerberg.
We're on your side.
I hope we get invited. We can do an episode in your basement.
there's two things that so a bunker, like I get feeling safe inside of a bunker, but also if there's like a really bad earthquake and like things are getting rocked around, what if like the bunker that you're in just like shifts and rolls a little bit and now you're just in a coffin? Because now like where you get out, exit, right? Maybe it's snapped because you're in like a container and it rolls in the earth.
Never thought of that.
And now like you're just
I think you would
you're just in there.
I think contingency plans.
Okay. Yeah.
You just have
I
to
think
have-
you would
He just
have to
goes
have
to his map.
contingency
See,
plans.
option number 2.
Other things.
Oh,
I heard there was a fire in California. Just build our
I
second
think
one
you can
there.
get stuck in a bunker if you've downloaded yourself into the virtual world.
Oh, because
That's a
he
good
just
point.
like shuts off his
Yeah.
body
He's like,
and then just
yeah.
downloads.
Just watch the Rebel Moon.
I haven't watched that yet. What do
It's
you
okay.
think?
I'm
Is
not
it a
going
Star
to give
Wars
anything away.
thing?
The only thing that was pretty interesting was the way they did this one thing. It's kind of almost a by and by scene, but the evil guy has to travel to see who would have probably been Darth Vader.
Okay.
And the way he travels is kind of cool.
Okay.
They like have to hook him up in this stuff, put him in this like soupy looking stuff,
Okay.
and then I've never seen anything like it as far as like
Yeah.
really fast travel, like warping or going through to another universe. It was pretty unique. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, speaking
I'll
of,
have to
As far as
watch.
the movie though, Rebel Moon, I'd probably give it 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Which is enough for me because again, one of my favorite movies is Moonfall. So
What do you rate the other like Star Wars? The one where they go and get the plans for the Death Star and
like the best Star Wars of all time, in my opinion, is probably Empire, and I'd give it. That's not now. It's like when I watch it, I've watched it too many times, right? But when
Right.
I first watched those, 10s out of 10.
Okay.
yeah, I'd agree with that.
I was still young enough that I even gave Return of the Jedi a 10. In hindsight, the Ewoks would have annoyed me as an adult, but as a kid, I was like, freaking heck yeah, I'll give you the Ewoks.
Okay.
So
Speaking of
Give it a watch.
Speaking of movies,
I'd put this in the middle of the 9.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd probably
Yeah.
place in the middle. It's
Okay.
not ahead of Rogue.
Okay.
yeah, some of those are.
Yeah, some of those are really good.
Yeah.
It's not ahead of that or anything.
Okay.
But there's a movie I watched over the break. Have you guys heard of? Oh my gosh, what is it called? It's called like Leave the World Behind.
Okay.
It's the movie that the Obamas
that
made
one looks pretty good.
that produced.
Yeah.
I watched that when that first came out, and I was like, I wanted to talk about it so bad, but you guys hadn't seen it yet.
Bro.
It's just like,
Bro,
Do I have to watch it?
You need to watch it so we can digest it on an episode.
Really?
And talk about it. It's
The thing that creeps me up about it is apparently he was
Yeah.
pretty involved in it. Like he's like, no, that wouldn't be how it is. It'd be like this.
the scariest thing is when the
Bro.
the sound waves went off.
This,
Can I
don't
like
care.
spoil
yeah.
a thing? So
I'll
there's
probably
the
forget
don't
it.
sound.
spoil the ending though.
No, I'm not gonna spoil it.
Okay.
So there's this like sound that's like blaring, and like everybody like can't. They have to collapse.
Which is a
'cause
real
the
thing
sound
that
waves
happens,
are
by the
so
way.
bad.
Have you heard
right.
of those towns? Yeah.
And then like the kid one day like wakes up. Can I say this part?
Yeah.
Kid one day wakes up and like
Spoiler alert. Pause.
Okay, good. Yeah.
his teeth just like fall out. And that's real. So when people get hit with like sound waves, torture kind of thing,
Bro.
that
Even if it's
it
AC/DC?
rattles your teeth, especially if it's AC/DC.
The thing is, it's so loud you can't tell it's AC/DC to enjoy it.
Right.
I haven't seen the movie, but that's something that also has existed. Do you remember in the 80s when you guys were not even existing?
Well, I was,
well,
but
yeah.
Yeah.
We were alive in the 80s. Kind of.
They went down to freaking what? I think it was Manuel Noriega.
Okay.
He was Panamanian dictator. We supported him for a long time. I think it was him.
Yeah.
It was one of those dudes. And the Marines did that and they just played hard rock, but it was like freaking huge speakers.
Yeah.
For like
concert
days.
stuff.
yeah.
And apparently it works. So
Yeah.
even at that level, that's pretty low tech because I know there's a lot of higher
Yeah.
tech stuff.
And
now.
this was just like high frequency. And so then people are like, oh, all the 5G towers that
I'm
people
like-
put up
I'm
can
touching all my
like,
teeth now.
they can send
That bugs me.
those
I've had
sound
dreams
waves
where I
out.
pulled teeth out, and I'm like, these are my adult teeth. Scary, dude.
This
Anyways,
is bad. These should not
You
fall
need
out.
to watch it, and we need to like.
Okay.
It needs to be an episode. 'cause
Maybe I'll go
there's
watch it
a
tonight because
lot-
there's caffeine in this, I think. And so
there's a lot
Yeah.
to digest.
And the
in that
fact
movie.
that so the Obamas were like
God, we
producers.
can't go 2 weeks. I just want to talk now and not even get to our topic.
We,
I know.
Yeah, I know. I like this week where we like
I apologize to
skipped
the
a week.
audience.
Yeah, it
That
was
was hard. That
Christmas,
was
and we
hard.
spent time with our families. And to be honest, it was nice having a week not editing video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like rejuvenated. I can easily go another 8 weeks.
That's wild.
Easily.
We just got to take a break every week, son. Yeah.
I feel like we've got to help out.
I think we have to. I think we have to learn. I think I have to learn.
No, we're not going
better.
to take a break unless it's important.
Okay.
yeah,
Unless my wife's going to divorce me. Then
Unless it's
I gotta
our
take a break.
Savior's birthday,
right.
celebrated, not actually his birthday. So we
Yeah.
all know. There's
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, allegedly.
That's elementary stuff.
Yeah.
We all know that. Anyways, so I thought this story was insane.
Okay, let's hear it.
Have you guys know what the Mojave Desert is, right?
Yeah,
Where
I
it's
do kind
located,
of.
the area.
Is it in California
So part of it is,
and Arizona
and Nevada.
and Nevada?
So think of like the border between like Nevada, like at like the Hoover Dam, Las Vegas.
I was just there.
Nellis Air
So I was in the
Force
Mojave
Base.
Desert.
Yeah, you were.
Okay.
So
Pull up a map so I got a good visualize.
yeah. So I actually was going to pull it up for you. But
Well,
that's
and
okay.
for the record, Hoover Dam is where they're holding Megatron from.
Oh, you want to talk? Okay, that's another thing. You want to talk about?
I
like,
thought I sensed his presence when I was there at
Yeah.
the dam.
Like, huh?
Ark of the Covenant's also there.
No,
There's
the
a
Ark,
lot
The Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia. We'll talk about it on another episode.
under the Buddhist temple.
Yeah. No, it's a Jewish one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's like a Buddhist temple.
I think it's Jewish because it's where the Apocrypha, one of the original Apocryphas, was found.
All right.
Which also true.
Okay. I mean, true-ish, we'll say.
Okay, Mojave Desert looks miserable.
Yeah. Okay. So, I like that you're going there because that's where I was going to go. So, the Mojave Desert is basically the largest desert in North America.
Okay.
In the North American continent. And what makes it so unique, I guess you could say, and so dangerous is that the temperatures get like insane there.
Okay.
Like they actually have recorded temperatures up to 138 degrees in the summertime.
Bro.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow. This is
It's
one of those
also-
places where people are like, it's so beautiful. But then they never go outside.
Yeah. No, the Mojave Desert's somewhere you want to visit in the wintertime in North America because it can get pretty brutally cold at night, but during the day it's typically like pretty nice. So it's definitely like desert type environment, lots of sandstone, lots of rocks, lots of sagebrush, cactuses, those kinds of things. It actually makes up 48,000 square miles
Dang.
in North America. Okay.
It's hard to even wrap your head around what that
Right.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing
But
that's
there's probably some countries or states that are that size, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Anyways, the interesting thing too is that this area, the Mojave Desert, it's actually really well known for its old mines. There are lots of old mining towns out there, like when you had the gold rush and things like that. They were looking for gold out there, found a lot of it. But it's also known for its cave systems.
Okay.
There's tons, like hundreds, if not
Are you
thousands of
talking
caves.
mines or natural caves?
Natural caves. Well, we'll see.
Natural-ish.
There's caves.
Yeah, hold on, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. But anyways, there's caves all over the place out there. Okay. So now that you kind of understand the area, right? Think of like Las Vegas and think like all around that area, all that entire area. That's all the Mojave Desert. Okay. So have you guys ever heard of a guy named Kenny Veach?
Yeah, he's popped up on my like YouTubes or something a couple times.
Right.
It's like a hiker or something, right?
Yeah. So Kenny Veach is this guy. He is like an avid outdoorsman, and he especially loves like hiking in the Mojave Desert. And he's like a diehard too. Okay. He'll go out. He does like kind of some like extreme hikes. Okay. Like it's not like my kind of hikes where like I go like 100 yards up a hill and I'm like, I'm tired. Let's go.
Yeah,
back.
you're like, look at the view.
No, I'm like, whew, kind of
see the parking lot from where your trail.
Yeah. No, this guy like parks his car, grabs like a candy bar and like a water bottle, and then hikes like 10 miles in like a day, and then comes back. That kind of thing. Okay. Right. Yeah. So pretty extreme guy. Now, basically, Kenny has hiked all over this area. Okay, he's hiked all over like near Nellis Air Base, because Nellis Air Base is right outside
Smart.
Right. Well, there's a lot of like land and stuff behind that and around that area that's pretty popular for like, hiking and stuff. But he hikes.
So it's safe to say like he's familiar.
He's familiar with the area. Yeah. So around Nellis Air Force Base, he also has hiked quite a bit out in like the Desert National Wildlife Range, which is north of Las Vegas and goes all the way up to Area 51. Okay. So that's kind of his kind of outdoor playground is near Nellis Air Force Base and then north in that Desert National Wildlife Range, where it's a lot of the similar type environment, and there's just tons.
If you're spending that much
stuff
time in that type of place, you're probably going to see some pretty weird stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And he does. So get this. Let me give a little bit more background on Kenny. Right. So Kenny also is a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, which is kind of like, that's why he's near and dear to my heart.
Hey, yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Lunatic. I only believe in facts.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of the YouTube channel called Serious Disclosure? Okay, which we should.
Or is it Serious like S-E-R?
No, like Sirius as in like space, constellation Sirius.
Or the satellite radio company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I didn't think that Sirius radio. Anyways, this YouTube channel was originally formed by the well-known Dr. Stephen Greer.
I have heard of Stephen Greer.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. He's the one that kind of like overbearing kind of tone, was dropping knowledge.
He's the one who's like dad.
Yeah.
Was like
he was super connected.
Yeah, in like government and like aerospace tech.
Yeah, and he's very popular too for coming forward with a lot of like the energy stuff.
So he does. Stephen Greer does Serious.
He was the founder, the original founder of it. He's not. I don't think he's really involved with it anymore.
He does all the like government hearings.
Yes.
Of like forcing disclosure.
Yeah, and he
thinks it's
his organization
that they're hiding free energy.
Yeah, his organization actually helps whistleblowers come out and protect them and allow their story to get out.
When they come out about like tech.
A lot of the
this is the guy I thought.
Yeah, a lot of the recent hearings that took place in Washington D.C. about alien disclosure and UFOs and all that kind of stuff, Stephen Greer was behind a lot of that.
On the DL, please pop up a picture. He's kind of jacked.
Yeah, you know
he's
what?
Bald and looks like a nerd.
This is kind of
like a buff one.
I don't know how I saw this. Maybe I like Googled him and I saw a picture of him. I saw a picture with him without his shirt on. And Stephen Greer's like in his like 60s, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
And he is like
not safe for work pictures of Stephen Greer.
I think that's what happens when you become like 50 years old and you have tons of money. You see Jeff Bezos. Yeah, he's just like a goon in his 30s.
He's like a
40s.
And now he's
he shows
last
up.
time I saw him, he's
bald. He's jacked. Yeah, it's like whatever. All right.
He's like, these horse testicles are really feeding me.
Gotta get that testosterone hit. The injections just aren't doing it anymore.
Oh. Just kidding, Jeff.
Yeah.
Please keep delivering to my house.
Yeah, I appreciate what you do.
Give me wonderful TV.
Just don't get divorced again, or at least get a prenup. It's just advice in general.
Yeah.
Dan was like,
Taking it for stuff. It hurts.
Okay, so long story short, he was a pretty regular viewer of this Serious Disclosure YouTube channel.
okay.
And he would comment on it a lot and, talk, back and forth with all the other viewers on comments. And it was a very active comment feed on their videos, and he was very involved in that. So this is where it begins. And I actually have like his actual quoted comments. So after one of the videos, Kenny comments this. He says, "This ain't nothing. I'm a long-distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like a perfect capital M. I always enter every cave I find, but as I begun to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibration became. Suddenly I became very scared and hightailed it out of there. That was one of the strangest things that had ever happened to me." Okay.
So he's vibrating.
Yeah. So he says,
I've never experienced that.
and and on his YouTube, he ends up posting and creating kind of like his own little YouTube channel. Not the one that like got a lot of traction or anything, but just kind of was like, and the reason why he created it was because of this experience. But he ends up talking about it out in the Mojave Desert next to this old mine shaft that he would go out towards and like kind of go around that area. Is very familiar to him. And he talks about, he basically says that he felt like his body was actually shaking, but he doesn't think that like if you were looking at him that you'd actually be shaking. It felt like internal, like his innards and like his body was like vibrating and shaking.
So when he walked into the cave,
never made it in.
So
Was
as he
walking
got
towards the
close
entrance.
to it-
As he got closer to the entrance of the cave, he felt
He started
more and
feeling
more
like
and
he
more of that.
was
Yeah.
vibrating.
And
Okay.
then he also talks about how he had nausea. He felt sick afterwards. After like feeling that vibration and being near that cave, he felt sick to his stomach, like he needed to vomit. Anyways, he ends up hightailing it out of there. And he, and then from then on, everyone referred to it as the M cave. But when he makes his first comment out there,
it's shaped like an M.
yeah, it's shaped like M cave.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
He's a genius. Oh, Kenny. But anyways, in the comments, he's met with like skepticism, right?
Of course, freaking haters.
Yeah, everyone's like super skeptic.
I'm skeptical right now. Like, what does the vibration even mean? But let's.
Yeah. So anyways, he ends up getting met with like a lot of like skepticism, disbelief. Everyone's giving him a hard time about it. And in the comments, he's having to like defend himself because people were like, "Yeah, you're crazy, dude. You're just trying to get like attention, whatever."
Well, in our YouTube-ish world, it's us too. It's like I can see why people think that. But it makes it a weird thing because you want to share it, but then if I share it, people think I'm just doing it for the wrong reason.
And then you try and defend yourself, and you're only going to
You're
get
gonna
like,
lose.
just dragged through the mud. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some pretty awesome responses that I'm going to share. So one of them, after he's having to defend stuff, he ends up putting this comment on there. He says, "No, I solo hike across mountaintops that most people wouldn't dare go. I have been in more caves than I can count. I play with rattlesnakes for fun, but this one particular cave was beyond anything I've ever encountered. Someday I'll go back and I'll bring a weapon with me. All I had at the time was a knife and a wrist rocket." So, as you can tell just from like his comments,
Bart Simpson, man, he's like an adult. Wrist rocket.
Hold on, bro. You had a wrist rocket. That is a weapon.
Yeah.
So
I actually got one for Christmas, and mine has a laser sight. It's pretty sweet.
Oh my gosh, we need to play with that.
a laser sight wrist rocket.
Yeah, well,
Does it shoot like
has,
the marbles things?
it has a fiber optic sight, and it has an actual laser, a
So
laser
sick.
dot like that you can project onto things and shoot.
That's awesome.
Mary got it for me for Christmas. Thanks, babe.
Yeah, Mary.
So cool. It was
Yeah.
such a cool gift.
Mary is a cool wife.
Yeah.
She's like,
Amen.
you know what you need? Laser dot wrist
Yeah.
rocket.
Yeah.
I didn't know
More
it existed.
things
Yeah.
to shoot things with.
You don't
Yeah,
have
I need this podcast to go really, really well so that she'll stick around. Because one day she's gonna realize that she like married down.
She's gonna go back and look over the last like 10 years of Christmas gifts.
She's like, hold
like,
up.
wait a minute.
What am I doing?
What am I
You know what I
doing?
mean? It's like
Okay.
yeah. Anyways, I'm just kidding, but all right. But anyways, so he ends up putting that comment out there, and everyone's kind of like, "All right, dude, this guy's weird." It just makes the situation even worse. People disbelieve him even more. So then he ends up making another comment. And this is basically when this took place. I should have started that. This happened in 2014.
Okay.
Okay. 2014, Las Vegas area.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, so it has been a while now. Almost 10 years at this point. So then the commenting goes back and forth, and he makes this comment after he kind of discloses where he found the M cave. And he says he found the M cave near Nellis Air Force Base in the mountains kind of south of that. Okay. But the thing with the issue with him is that a lot of the hiking that he does, he doesn't go on trails. He would just go, oh man, I'm going to go over that mountain and I'm going to go this way. So it's like he kind of has a general idea of where it's at, but he doesn't know specifically, and he's going to have to retrace his steps. Okay. So then as the commenting kind of goes back and forth, he makes this comment again, or another comment. He says, maybe it's just a strange looking cave that has a mountain lion living in it. It should be some time this week when he's going to go back and try to find it. And he says, I'll have my 9mm with me this time just in case. Last time I was unarmed, which he doesn't understand the use of a wrist rocket, but that's okay, Ken.
That's all right.
He said it's a 10-hour hike, no trails, very dangerous terrain. The mountain is located right next to the bombing range that the Nellis Air Force bombing range he's referring to. I have found some giant empty rounds of ammo before. I have just been waiting for the Vegas weather to cool down. So it's like the summertime. He found it in the springtime. He waits and holds off in the summertime, and everyone's like, when are you going to go, Kenny? When are you going to go? And he's like, it's freaking hot out there.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to wait until the fall. And then he says, it's not the kind of hike that one would do during the summer. So then anyways, he decides he's going to go, and he goes out to go find the M cave. And this time he brings a video camera, and he records his hike as he goes to find it. And he basically puts it on YouTube. It's like a 22-minute video. Most of it's like not really eventful. Like it's him as like he'll like record a little bit, like, oh look, there's a ram.
And he's like uploading it while he's out there.
No, he uploads it when he gets back.
Oh,
so he's kind of like in 2014. He's kind of using like a camcorder type deal, you know. And then he records a little bit, and then he keeps going. He records something that he sees a little bit, and as he's kind of going throughout the hike. So the first like probably 16 minutes of the video are just like uneventful. I mean, unless you enjoy the outdoors and like he goes, oh, there's a tortoise, and you see this tortoise, and then it's like, oh, there's a ram up on the hill. Oh, look at this beautiful scenery, right? So he finally gets to the area where he believes that he found the M cave. Mm-hmm. And so now he's like recording consistently as he's kind of like walking up this area. So he's walking up this area, and as he's going, he's like, I remember it. It was like right off of like the bottom of this gorge. And he's like, and I remember it being unique because a lot of the caves you find are up in the sandstone, kind of higher up. And this one was on the ground level. And he said it was like, you know, about as tall as he was. He's like 6 foot. And it was basically shaped like an M, and you could basically get inside this cave. So he searches and searches and searches on the video. He can't find the cave. So then he uploads the video anyways. And then even more skeptics come out. And they're like, dude, you couldn't even find it again. Like, this is just a made-up story.
Which, from the skeptic's point of view,
I get it.
Well, do you know
makes sense.
Do you know
like,
they need to
did
get?
you go back? It's not even there.
What's the dude from Transformers? The Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Which I saw on Shia LaBeouf, so funny. But they need to get those guys. Remember when he posted? He's like, I'm gonna go hang this flag and put the camera in the middle of nowhere, and it's like
he will not divide us.
It was like 11 hours later, some dude breaks onto the compound. They tracked it they need to get those guys.
Yeah, they figured out like the airplane.
Yeah, those guys that are out there, just go find this M cave. Those guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, so then he can't find it again. Video's uneventful. Everyone continues the criticism. And then this user comes out, and they're commenting again in these YouTube comments. So it's like they're going back to the same video and commenting again, using it almost like as a message board back and forth between all these viewers. Mm-hmm. So he comes back, he uploads it, he gives a link for everyone to go watch it. They go watch it, and they're like, dude, you didn't even find it. It's a bunch of hocus pocus. Yeah. And then a guy named Lemmy Kilmister is his username on YouTube. Okay. Makes this comment to Kenny. And he says, because Kenny's like, I'm going to go back again, and this time I'm going to do a 3-day hike. I'm going to bring supplies, and I'm going to find it. And everyone's like, okay, cool. And then this guy responds and says, no, do not go back there. If you find that cave entrance, don't go in. If you do, you won't get out. And then Kenny Kenny responds and says, "What makes you say that?" And this Lemmy user never replied again.
Okay.
And they didn't see any more comments from this user. It's just like this one comment was made, don't do it, whatever. Okay?
Well, a quick Google search, Lemmy Kilmister is Motorhead's guitarist.
So
I don't think he uses real.
Guys,
I don't think he uses real name on YouTube.
Probably not. What year? Hold on. What year is that band?
Motorhead?
Yeah.
They're like in the Rock Hall of Fame, so it's like 70s, 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody who would make themselves named after that.
It'd probably be someone at least my age.
What age?
Yeah.
Right.
Probably someone
Yeah.
who knew the band and liked the. Did you say it was guitarist?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably liked him a lot and then used his name as.
So
like,
somebody
his username.
that age could be somebody that's
Plot
like
twist, it's really Lemmy Kilmister.
working. That would be a surprise. He's like, hey, get off my property.
I'm launching bombs out here. I own the
Bombs,
government.
large artillery. So yeah, it could be somebody that's like works for the government or knows that they're storing something out there, and it's just like,
because there's no way
hey guy,
there aren't government operatives on YouTube comment
like,
sections.
Hey,
right?
please don't go looking for it. Like,
I don't want to shoot you.
I will kill you if
If you go
find
there,
it.
I will. I mean, you will.
Right. So he could be that if it's real and all that,
Right.
Obviously, it's close to an Air Force base, so
Right.
everything out there is they monitor.
Right.
So it could be somebody saying like, "Yeah, don't go out there because I'll have to put you in the dirt because then you're going to record it and now they're going to know where it is."
Let me just finish the story. So Kenny listened, and now he's fine.
No.
Oh, okay.
That would
Kenny
be a
didn't
nice
listen.
ending.
I thought the episode over.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
Thanks, Lemmy.
Kenny,
Mr. Guy.
after getting, more and more, criticism and skepticism, he makes this comment before he goes out for his 3-day hike. Okay, this is what he says. He says, "I'm going again this weekend. I'll be hiking solo for 3 days. I plan on covering about 40 miles. I will cross through the same canyon where I found the cave. If I don't find it again, I'll just continue hiking over mountain after mountain to the north of the canyon. I dare any of the people that like to run their mouths on here to join me. My hikes are brutal on the body. After one of my long hikes, some of my toenails turn black and fall off. I lose about 13 pounds of body weight. It takes me about 3 days to recover from the abuse I put myself through, but I love every minute of it."
He's really selling it to me.
He's just standing while he's typing. Oh, you don't even know. My toes are black.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it that he's typing with just 2 fingers.
Yeah, he's a hiker. Yeah, he's not a tech guy.
Yeah. He says, "There's no guarantee that I'll find the cave. That region that I cover is vast. There are many caves. I have been in hundreds of them. The M cave is the only one I've ever feared going inside. I really want to find it again." Okay. So on November 10th, 2014, he packs his bags. He drives out to this little area where he's gone a million times. He parks his car, he gets out, and he goes on his 3-day hike. Okay? And that is the last that we ever hear from Kenny Veach.
Okay.
So
What happened?
So there's a lot of things.
So
let me, before we get into what we think would happen, let me tell you what happens afterwards.
What the commenters start saying.
Well, we'll get into that, but this is what happens shortly after. So after the 3-day trip, his girlfriend, her name's Sharon. So his girlfriend, on the day that he's supposed to be back, she's like waiting for him. And he's done this a million times, right? Like he goes out to the desert, he goes out and does whatever thing and then comes back, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, he's fine." So she waits until the evening, and she's like, that's not like him to be late.
Right.
So she ends up calling the police and files a missing person report. And then shortly after, within the next coming days, a 30-man team of professional searchers. I don't even know. I think that's National Wildlife Service maybe, or the police department. There was a lot of different things that were, or groups that were involved, like the police. There was the National Wildlife Service, I think, and then search and rescue. They all go out there.
Just like an all-out blitz.
All-out blitz. They take 30 guys and they basically find his car quick. because it's right exactly where the girlfriend said it was going to be. Because she's gone on hikes with him in the past too. She's like, hey, he's going to be out here. This is where his car, he would have parked his car. They get out there. They open up his car. They look through it. And, like, all of his gear's gone. Like, yeah. Like, he packed everything up he
went
had.
hiking.
And he goes out there. So they search and they search and they search and they search. They can't. They go all the way up the canyon. They can't find him. They come back in the same day, right? Which is some of the commenters on YouTube said that was a mistake because they only went out as far as they could go while still being able to hike back and make it back in the same day.
And he probably went further.
And they're like, no, he went 3 days out. So then they get a helicopter.
Right.
And that helicopter flies out over this area based on what a lot of the YouTube comments he said he was going to do and what his girlfriend knows. They use that information. They do low flyovers to see if they can find, a body, a campsite, anything like that. And they find nothing. Find absolutely nothing. So
I wonder how that works if you're like near an Air Force base and you're looking for a missing person. Like, do you get cleared to then fly into their airspace?
Well,
Do they
I think
control
you'd have
that
to.
airspace still? Can
Yeah.
they say, no, we'll do our own sweep?
Yeah. So, like, for instance, like here in Salt Lake City, there's certain, like if you're in a private plane, there's certain altitudes that you have to stay within because there's the international airport. If you go over certain, air or certain height, then you have to ask for clearance to go in that area. You go up further north, there's Hill Air Force Base, and that entire airspace over them is blocked.
Okay.
And so it's like,
So to be looking for this person, they'd
have to get clearance.
Get some sort of approval.
Which, I mean, I can't think of a reason why the Air Force wouldn't be like, yeah, that's fine. Like, yeah, fly your helicopter over there, look around, whatever.
Yeah, unless they freaking shot the dude, but
So, yeah. So, anyway, long story short,
allegedly.
they go out there. They can't find his body. They don't know where he's at. And his girlfriend then starts to kind of express her belief in what she thinks happened. And she go back into Kenny's life a little bit. So Kenny lost his job the year before. He was basically living off of his savings. Wasn't really interested in like going back to work for like a typical W-2 working for the man type job.
Yeah.
He wanted to start his own, and he had some inventions that he made that he tried to like sell on YouTube and through like
One of them
different
was
stores.
I think it was called like the it was like the MK Finder, so it didn't sell very well.
Yeah, because when you take the action figure and you put it in
not
the
work.
cave, it never came
vibrates
back out.
Yeah,
So, which is kind of dumb because it's frustrating because you wanted the action figure.
You're just like,
it's
it's
like,
gone.
dude, yeah.
No, he actually has some videos on YouTube of like some of the things he tried to sell, which I mean they're like trinkets and like he did like a bucket for like Christmas and then had like stuff in it. It's kind of just goofy stuff.
He's trying to make it
Yeah,
work.
he's trying to do his best, and then he. Anyways, so he was running into some financial troubles. He was running out of money in his savings account, and then she was like, he was suffering from depression because his inventions and stuff didn't work out. So then he tried to start another business and do cowboy interior design. He loved like decorating his house and all that kind of stuff. So he decided to try to do that. That failed. So he's just not having a lot of luck. So she said that, there was times where he talked about taking his life and that kind of stuff. And so, anyway, and then she made some, so she made some comments about how he could have gone out there, killed himself. He knows the area.
That's a made-up backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I'm not
She's an
buying
operative.
it.
Well, here's the thing,
She's
though.
an operative.
Yep. So here's the timeline.
It's always convenient when stuff like that
The only
happens.
people who aren't CIA operatives are in this room.
Yeah. Everybody else, operative.
Yep.
Yeah, we know you. We know you're watching. We have the truth. So get this out. So when she comes out with this information, it's on December 10th of 2014.
Okay.
So he goes missing on he leaves on the 14th, reported missing on the 17th. So it's almost like it's probably like 3 weeks after he goes missing. She goes onto the message board under the same video and makes this comment. It says that he was
Which
suicidal.
I feel like if my spouse or girlfriend,
Yeah, go message
you're
board.
not going to go to the message board. Just so you guys know.
Just so you know,
So don't
Right.
go looking.
he wasn't that big of a catch, and he knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He tried to be a cowboy.
yeah, it's like,
something
let
or
me
other.
show you some of his ideas. He had this cave finder. Obviously didn't work. No, but seriously, that seems a little sketchy. You know what reminds me a little bit of is like you have this weird stuff with that lady on the plane, right?
Yeah.
What was she called? Fielding?
I don't know. The chick who was like, that guy
That
is not
guy's
real.
not real.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And you're like, okay, but then like they wait enough time, like 2-3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's all resolved.
Yep. And she comes out and she was like, "Oh, it's just a misunderstanding."
Just kidding.
Like,
and look at me, I'm the same person.
I look
We're like,
different.
you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Is there
Yeah.
like, is that how long back office takes to like, hey, we got to get our freaking story here. All right, run it through the process.
Yep. Yeah.
Knowing our government, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
It
dude.
takes him 3 weeks to clone somebody. That's why. That's why Yeezy, when he was like, "Hey, if I ever disappear for a long time and come back,
Yeah.
it's not
so
me."
So then he leaves, comes back, ruins his $1 billion Adidas deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
So check this out.
There's an interesting.
Okay, so
I mean,
she goes-
it does remind me of that though.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
So she
okay.
goes onto the board.
She goes
and
on
then
the board and makes his
says
comment almost 3 weeks after he's gone missing.
He was depressed.
Yeah, all the stuff saying that he could have been suicidal.
why would she
Why
say
would you
it?
do that?
Even if it was
anyway,
true.
Even if it was true.
Yeah.
Even if it was true.
Yeah.
Why
Right.
would you?
That's the
You're-
thing is
you're
like
told to.
I can
You were
guarantee
told
you that
to.
like my wife doesn't know like probably half the YouTube channels that I like to watch.
Right. And if
right?
you died,
She's like, hey.
why would she care?
Yeah, she's not gonna
There's
care.
just no chance
Yeah.
that that's real.
So super weird.
Yeah. That's actually a serious. Like, there is not a chance on earth. I disappear. My wife's like, I better get on his YouTube and take care of his people he's been getting in like political bickering with.
I was gonna say, even if it was like your number one thing that you're like yelling about,
Yeah.
you're like, I think Biden's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
She'd be
You
like,
die. She's not gonna be like, I'm gonna go to that YouTube video
Yeah.
about Biden wearing a mask and argue with these people.
Yeah.
I want to make sure they are aware of what I know.
It just doesn't
that does
exist.
not track.
Doesn't add
I
up.
didn't even hit as hard until now, but that's a good point, Philly.
Yeah. So this is where it sparks like an interesting part of the story. So there was some followers that were on there that like were in that same message board that then kind of started this thing of like, we need to find Kenny. So then a bunch of YouTubers
I love those investigative YouTubers.
start going out there and going like, we got to find him. And they figured like, hey, based on the things he said, this is the general area. We're going to go try to find him or the M Cave. So one specific follower.
Seems risky, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing the guy that sits in his basement from South Park trying to go on a hike to find Kenny. And they're like, he's like gets 75 feet from his car and he's like,
Forget it.
honestly, there's no way this is going to work.
He's already drinking all this water.
Yeah, it's gone. Water? No, he's drinking all of his like Diet Coke.
Mountain Dew.
That'd be me. You're like, I'm at a Diet Coke. You know,
Yeah, just help.
I tried.
Hey, we did our best. Anyway,
So then there's one specific follower or I guess commenter. He decides that he's going to make an attempt to go out there, and he knows a guy that actually works in Area 51. And he had told him the story about it and said like, hey, like this happened, you know. He says he was like south of Nellis Air Force Base, but his favorite spot where this old mining shaft was is actually north of Las Vegas in that National Wildlife Reserve. And it's pretty close to Area 51. It's actually 3 hours difference in the other direction. And so
wait.
so okay, let me explain that. So
Yeah.
you have Nellis Air Force Base, right? There's Las Vegas, and then there's the area south of Nellis Air Force Base that he said that he found the M Cave.
Yeah.
Go north
So
3
way-
hours into this national reserve.
Are you saying driving, like 180 miles, or are you saying walking?
Yeah, like
Okay,
driving,
okay.
driving. Okay, and there's a little mine shaft that's north in this wildlife reserve that Kenny has done a lot of videos at. He'll stand there and talk, and that's where he actually introduces his video and talks about the feeling that he had was at this site
this other
in this
cave.
other area. So then people start questioning, like, okay, was he actually telling us the real location of the M Cave, or was he trying to keep it a secret so that he could go back and discover it first and show the video? Okay, so
Okay, all right. I like
this
this. I like it.
YouTuber guy,
Yeah. Why would you drive? That is weird. Why would you drive to another cave to be like, hey, don't worry about this cave that I'm standing in front of currently.
Right.
This other one 3 hours away has made me feel really weird.
Right.
That is weird.
It's kind of weird.
Okay.
But
All
then
right.
get this. So this YouTube channel guy, or creates his YouTube channel, and records himself, going out there to find this M cave. He gets insider information from a guy that actually works at Area 51 that says there is a cave out there that is shaped like an M. But it is on Area 51 property.
And that's why you would lie, too.
And so
If you're like, hey, it's on
Yeah.
illegal property for me to go, you wouldn't
You'll
know. It's 3
definitely-
hours away.
you'll
I definitely
definitely-
would be in the illegal one. It's
Right.
3 hours away. Okay.
So then this guy,
Getting interesting.
and I didn't get his name. I should have, but I'll throw it in the comments or on the screen. Anyways, so this guy, yeah,
Jonathan.
John Doe, we'll call him John from now on until we have a better name. So John goes out there, or gets this insider information from his guy, and he tells him the exact area that it is. He gives him shows him on a map, says this is where that M cave is, and he's like, it's the only one like it.
So the M cave is up
north,
where his
On
original
area-
videos were from, not
Correct,
where he
near that
said
area.
he was hiking.
right? And
Okay.
from that area that he's in, where that mine shaft is that he really likes to go, it's not far from there. It's I think it's like an hour hike away from that area. Okay. So this guy decides, I'm gonna save Kenny. I'm going to the M cave, even though it's on Area 51 property. So
Bad decision.
So this YouTuber, he gets his camera, he goes out there, no joke, finds a cave shaped like the letter M.
Sick.
Okay? But this cave that he finds, it looks like an M. It's almost like a jagged kind of like M, right? You can see it's a cave, but it has a bunch of stacked rocks, kind of like halfway around it. And they're only stacked up maybe like a few feet. He's like, that's weird. Like Kenny would have said something about that if it had like the stacked rocks in front of it. He ends up going into this little cave, and the cave's not deep.
Is he having vibrations?
No vibrations, no
I was
feelings,
wondering
no
if that was like the line
nothing
where if
weird.
you pass the rocks, you start feeling it vibrate. But
Yeah, so he
Guess
walks
not.
in and actually goes inside the M cave, this M-shaped cave. In this cave, it's not deep. It's only probably like 4 or 5 feet deep. You can see the back of it, and it's just kind of almost more of like a
grotto.
Yeah, like it's like there's a
I don't
big
even know
opening,
what that is.
and it's essentially I don't know what a grotto is. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Explain yourself,
Yeah,
Travis.
look
Well,
that one up.
the only thing I know about a grotto is this. Back when I used to go to the Playboy Mansion. Just kidding, I never have been. But they have a grotto thing, and it's like a cave kind of over their pool. It's a shallow cave.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, shallow cave.
So like hotels,
Yeah.
have stuff like that.
Like in
water
my
things.
sister's backyard
Okay,
in
all
Arizona,
right, all
kind of
right,
has
all
a
right,
grotto with this little waterfall that goes
All
into
right.
the pool.
Right.
Word of the day today, kids.
Yeah.
Grotto.
GROTTO.
TTO.
I was gonna guess. I'm glad I actually got that right.
You said. Never mind.
So, anyways,
Said that out.
he goes inside this cave. He finds like remnants of like a fire. There's like burnt wood and stuff. He finds some beer bottles.
And he's currently on Area 51.
He's on Area 51 property. He finds beer bottles.
On Area 51.
Yeah.
And he finds a sign, and these signs are all over the different areas of Area 51 that basically says Area 51 property, trespassers like not allowed, lethal force authorized. And so he finds this thing. He's like, okay, that's kind of crazy. And then he leaves, right? Because he's kind of nervous being on Area 51 property. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
He leaves, and then what he does is he actually comes back like the next week. The same guy records it again, but this time that little rock wall is completely finished all the way around.
What?
And there's a new sign that is literally right in front of the cave that says no trespassing Area 51. It's a brand new sign on a brand new pole just sitting there.
So they've rocked, so you can't see the M cave.
Well, you can see the M
You
cave
just can't
still.
walk up to it.
You just can't walk up to it.
Okay, so
And it's got
enough.
that, and it's got a sign in there. So this YouTuber guy, John Doe, believes that they saw him go there, that he was under surveillance. They saw him, they left, he leaves, they finish that little wall, and they put a sign up. And so he sees it, and he's like, I'm not even going up there. And he bails.
Yeah.
Okay? He
Okay,
posts
smart.
He posts this all online, and everyone's like, that can't be the M cave. That can't be the M cave. Like, it's shaped like an M, but you didn't have any of the feelings that he felt. And it's shallow. The way that Kenny describes it is when he looked at it, you couldn't even see.
He was like, I'm going to go in it.
He's going to go in it. He's going to explore it, right? So that's one thing that came of it. And one of the guys that followed the story tried to solve, but no one believes that's actually the actual M cave. Okay, but the crazy
it's
thing
a convenient
is,
ending
None of the people in the know.
that like quiets everything. It's like, oh yeah, I found it. Here's the proof. Yeah, it's on the base, but there's
Right.
nothing. And then it's like, oh, done deal.
right? And this is the other
He was
interest-
suicidal. but-
Yeah, and this is the interesting thing about this story. There's another video that came up, and it's been out for a long time. I think it's probably been like 8 or 9 years now. But there was an actual situation where two bikers, like the kind of enduro bikes that you can get, where like they're street legal, you drive them on the street, you can do long distance.
Yeah.
But they also are
They have
off-road.
they have the little the
little
suitcases on the side or whatever.
Yes. So two guys decide that they're going to go on a backpacking, motorcycling trip, I guess. And they
They're like,
go.
all right, let's go.
It was like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, but
with,
dudes on
like,
enduros.
motorcycles.
Dudes on enduros. And they end up driving around the Nevada desert.
I got it.
Yeah.
In this wildlife reserve that butts up against Area 51. And a lot of the areas that actually have trails and roads are marked off by these giant, like, orange kind of stakes. And then there's signs, Area 51, right? And what's very common in that area is the white trucks. Have you heard of the white trucks? So that entire
Yeah.
Okay.
that entire area of Area 51 is monitored by either I think they're contractors, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'll tell you why.
it's like a show of force.
Yeah, and what they do is they monitor the border of Area 51. And if you trespass, these white trucks come out of nowhere, dudes come out, tell you to get out of there, or
And they all have like
You never
guns
get out.
on them, and they'll just pull up and just tell you, hey, you got to turn around.
Yeah.
You're on private property, basically.
so these guys on these enduro bikes decide, let's just cross it just to say we've been on Area 51
Yeah.
property. They
Who
literally
could blame them?
They literally,
I get
I'm not
that.
even joking you.
Yeah.
They drive down and cross the line maybe 15 yards. Okay? 100 feet maybe. And they get off their bikes and they're like recording themselves like, hey man, on Area 51, blah, 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 blah. And a white Ford truck comes blasting in.
That was my thought when you were talking about the other video where he was like
Yeah.
inside the cave. I'm like, there's no way they didn't have eyes on him though.
Right.
Like you can't get anywhere near Area
Yeah.
51.
So how did you're gonna explain
Yeah.
that, I think.
And so these guys, they roll up. Two dudes get out. They're in multicam military fatigues. And they immediately draw guns on these dudes. Tell them not to move. Don't move, blah, 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 blah. They're aiming their guns at them and everything. They pat them down pretty aggressively. And they basically tell them, like, what are you doing here?
Because what are you gonna do, dude?
Interrogating
You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. But get this.
On a Vespa.
This is
An off-road Vespa.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it
brought
in
my
terms
scooter.
that Philly can understand.
Yeah.
So it's like a motorized scooter?
It's like but you sit down on it.
Is it
It's
hip?
So is there gas?
Yeah, and you can get really far for very less.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
They use them in Europe. They're awesome.
Like truck?
So they encounter these guys, and here's the interesting thing about the video. So no matter what branch of military you're in, Air Force, Army, Navy, when you're wearing fatigues, there's certain things that are very common on your uniform. Usually you have your last name on your uniform. You usually have American flags on your arms. And then you're typically going to have like your rank and your branch of military, like USAF, Army, whatever. So that way, like, other military units can identify you and know who you are. Well, these dudes had no insignias on them at all, these Area 51 guys. No, not US, no flags, no names, no nothing, but same uniforms and drawing guns on guys. So the point is that everyone that I've heard of and I've seen through my research, watching videos of people trying to get on Area 51, white trucks always are there and they always stop people. And they'll, like, freaking arrest you. I watched one video where they arrested people that tried to get onto Area 51 and called the local police department. Local police department came and picked them up, and they were basically charged with trespassing onto military property, which I don't know how bad the punishment is for that, but I imagine it's got to be pretty intense.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy that finds the M cave says it's the M cave, the one that Kenny found. It's on Area 51 property. It makes it hard to believe that that's the actual M cave when people can't even get onto Area 51 property. And this guy got onto the property, hiked in, found this cave, and basically tries to sell the story.
And the weird part about that too is that like did he film the cave?
He did.
And so he's saying there's like beer cans and stuff. It's like other people
like
going to
other
Area
people
51. It's like
here.
Right. So the idea is that either A, it's a similar cave that isn't on Area 51 property, or it's potentially a cover-up, an attempt at covering up.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I've got more,
Okay.
but we're going to take a break.
Okay.
Okay. So that whole situation takes place. Now, another YouTuber comes out. His name's Sean. And he tries to follow.
Trustworthy guy,
Yeah,
Sean.
I like Sean. So Sean goes out into the desert, okay, south of Nellis Air Force Base, where he said it was going to be. And he actually is...
Originally.
Mhm.
Place. Mm-hmm.
He takes a camera with him. He's recording his hike up there. And here's the interesting thing. He starts to get into an area that looks identical to the one that Kenny recorded the first time he went out. Or, his second attempt
just
at
the
trying to
22
find
minute,
it.
the 22-minute video.
22-minute video. And he's in the same area. So Sean's looking around for the M cave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he comes across a...
Sean is now south.
He's south. He's near Nellis Air Force Base. Okay.
Because I was thinking about that. When the cave was up there, where did they find his car?
They found it south. That's why everyone's like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, he parks down south and then gets a ride.
But then people were like, oh, but he does like these crazy hikes. But I'm like,
he would tell his
180
girlfriend.
miles.
He would tell
It's
his
super
girlfriend.
convenient. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it didn't add up.
Okay, all right.
But now you're almost feeling like just from hearing it, like it's not just like accidental miscommunications now. It's like there's manipulations.
Right.
Yeah, it seems weird.
We've talked about in our other episodes how they
Yeah.
purposely...
Yeah. So Sean goes out. He finds the same area that Kenny was originally looking in. And he actually finds a rock structure that is one that Kenny in his video walks right by.
Mm.
Okay.
And Sean notices that this cave, or what isn't a cave anymore, it's like a rock wall. And he looks at it closely and brings his camera in closer. And there's actually rocks that are stacked up
Yeah, baby.
that are in the shape of an M. And the rock above it is a different color and texture than the rocks underneath it. And he's like, that's super weird. He gets closer and he puts his hand on the rocks, and he can actually wiggle them. Yeah. And some of them are somewhat loose. He tries to pry one out and he can't because he's only got his hands.
Hey, get out of here, kid.
Yeah, get out of here.
Quit touching my rocks.
So he looks at it and backs up and says, this is exactly how Kenny described it. Because Kenny said it was off of like the kind of the creek bed kind of area of this gorge. Mm-hmm. It was on the main level. It was about this height, and this guy's like 6'2". He's like, that it all adds up. And he's like, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to try to, like, get into this cave, right?
Bad idea, but I appreciate
and then
it.
everyone that's watching this video is probably thinking the same thing that you guys are thinking, is no vibrations, nothing weird's happening to Sean while he's standing in front of this cave.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So Sean kind of like marks this spot. He's like, I think this is the M cave. I think when he posted it, someone filled it in. And then he gets about 100 yards away from the cave, or what he thinks is the now, blocked up cave. And it's on camera, and he literally is like, I don't know how to explain this, guys. I just don't feel well. He's like, I don't feel good. And he's on the camera, and then he literally stops for a second. And he's like holding the camera. He's like, oh, I don't feel it. And he throws up. He throws up violently for 4 minutes on this video. Throws up. He's like, oh man, I don't feel good. And he's like kind of like trying to compose himself. Throws up again. And he has this horrible spell of like throwing up and feeling super sick.
See, they have a technology that can like sound wave so that somebody could be watching from like miles away and they can target you with sound waves. And that's one of like the side effects is like nausea.
Oh, so you're saying it isn't necessarily this cave's
The cave could be admitting it. No, it could be.
It's that they see them going there, and they're like,
and that's a
time
legit
to go home
thing, right?
Yeah.
And so here we're gonna send you away without you really registering like why.
Can we get this like for civilians so that I can have it's time for bed?
Yeah, and your
and then my kids are like playing video games. They're like, I don't feel good.
That Family Guy episode where they're just like puking on everything.
Yeah.
Oh man,
worth it because then it's next time I say time for bed.
Yeah,
that's
they're
true.
like
You
for
have to deal
some
with the
reason.
cleaning up.
When I said
one or
no,
two times. It
was
like,
violent.
hey guys, time for bed.
You'd have to put that button like behind like a locked case because my boys would be like, it's my turn to play Xbox.
Check this out.
And they'd be like,
their eyes are bleeding.
All right, okay.
Stop it. So I'm actually glad that you brought this up.
I'm locked in.
Okay.
I'm actually glad you brought this up because that's what I thought, and I did a little bit of research.
Oh yeah.
There's two different types of non-lethal, and I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the exact term, but it's a non-lethal like defense weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two different types.
There's all that new 5G towers in your
There's
neighborhood.
one that
kids.
Fielding is talking about.
That's what it's gonna come.
That's actually
Yeah, but dude, the speed's so fast.
yeah.
So worth it.
It emits high frequency sounds.
And you're saying like a weapon.
It's essentially a weapon.
They do it like crowd control.
Exactly. It's used for crowd control, and military bases will use it. So if there's protesters, things like that, so they don't have to use lethal
They're
force.
like, you liberal hippies.
Yeah.
Like if they want to like win a certain district, they just do it at like the voting booths.
Everybody's like, I was gonna come in and vote for this guy, but
I'm so sick. So there is a likelihood that because the tech was around back then, it was actually being introduced, just a few years before that.
Interesting. Well, yeah, for sure. If
anything public, if it's being introduced public, we've had it for like 50 years.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I always think movies that they're showing us today, the tech and everything exists. We won't get it for 100 years. So if you watch movies,
hold on.
Yeah, that like Iron Man stuff.
Minority Report.
We're gonna have it. Well, we'll have it soon. Because when did Minority Report come out? 95 or something?
Maybe. Don't cross my fingers. That'd be sick.
We're just,
Imagine what our episodes would be like if we had that.
Yeah.
This is the M Cave.
Yeah.
This is Nevada. Yeah. This is the Mojave Desert. That'd be sick.
This is cool. So they have a weapon, and then what's the second one?
The second one emits microwaves. And so how this one works...
Like I'm thinking, do you cook your food with?
It's exactly the same thing.
Oh, a light bulb.
But what they do is it's basically almost looks like a radar dish. And what they do is they can actually focus microwave radiation waves at individuals. And it'll actually, what it does is it doesn't go through the body, but it hits like the first, layer or two of your skin, and it actually warms it up. So it actually makes it's like people that have had it used on them as like when they're testing it and stuff. It's like an instant sensation of like if like on a really, really hot summer day.
The sun kind of hits you.
It hits you and you're like, oh, that's hot. And you can feel it's the heat and everything. It's just this really intense.
It's like being under a magnifying glass to like point it in on you.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, I've never had it done, but I've
this is actually something really cool I learned about it though. Do you know how to defeat it?
How?
Tinfoil.
Shirt off.
Tinfoil.
Not even joking.
Let's go.
Tinfoil. If you wear a tinfoil hat, mask, and like over your body, microwave won't penetrate it. Pretty crazy.
So the government releases years ago that tinfoil hats were just for dumb, crazy people
Yeah.
because they know that's the way to beat them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
Smart, man.
Yeah.
Smart. So there is a conspiracy
heavy.
or a line of thinking that Kenny came across a cave.
Did you see the guy throwing up?
Yes.
Did it? Because that's hard to. You could tell when people are like, "Oh, I'm sick." They're
Bro,
faking.
like he changes colors. Like he's walking away from this cave and you can tell he's pale. Like he doesn't look well.
So you can go
and
back
he
and
starts
watch
and you
it
can see
happen.
the sweat beating up on his head and he's just like, oh, and he like ends up throwing I'll link it in. But he basically yaks and throws up on camera. And it's I don't know, I hate throwing up and watching that, like I was like, oh.
I just think of those like military government guys, and they just go home and they're like, "I've got the best job in the world."
I just made some idiot hiker crap himself on the trail.
Yeah.
Because you got too close to one of our
They
How was your day?
storage.
How was your day, honey? I'm beat, but I feel fulfilled.
That's actually some people that have had that high frequency technology used on them. They've actually said that they had some people that were being tested on actually like involuntarily defecate. So
I mean, it makes sense.
Hey, yeah.
could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like you're going up like like no more war, no more.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're
are
like,
you
hey,
gonna,
come on, Daniel, let's get him. You're just like, nah,
I gotta go home.
I forgot my keys.
Let's just ask him nicely to leave.
I'll write a letter. I'm gonna go home.
I'll write a letter.
All right, my senator, I'm out of here. So one theory is one thing that we know for I say for certain as someone that's a believer that at Area 51 there is a ton of underground tunnel systems and caves and things like that Area 51 uses because when satellite imaging came out and people started uncovering that there was an Area 51, I think that's when they stopped utilizing main entrances because these white trucks are always out there and people never see people going in. But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the only time that you
It
actually
would make
do is when they're
sense that
on
they
a
would have
bus.
tunnels. I mean, it just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's thoughts that Kenny stumbled across a cave exit from Area 51 that he wasn't supposed to know about, and they initially used those tech on him that made him feel like he was shaking and he felt sick and all that kind of stuff.
But then they're like, "Bro, you're back again."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they realized like he was
And
coming
now he's
again,
online and he's talking about
They
it. He's
filled
sending
in-
a location.
and they filled in that spot.
So that goes back to that worker who was probably just like, hey, bro, like,
Dude,
don't go
seriously,
back
please
there.
don't come back.
Please don't. I don't want to have to kill you. And they'll
Yeah.
make me kill you.
So one thing is that when he went back again, he found it or
The
found
age of the
another
person who, I mean,
Yeah.
it could,
Yeah.
who knew
He's
that
listening to-
character.
He's like Motorhead. He's
Yeah.
just like,
He's like, I hate
I'm
my
just a
job, but I
rocker.
also like my job.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Whatever sonar sounds like.
Boop, beep, beep, boop, beep, bop, boop, beep, beep, bop. I got it. So do you guys want a quick digression? We've kind of been a little over, but this is a kind of funny story. So I have a stepdad, but I call him my dad. He's my dad. But we got off to a rough start because when we first were together, they gave me a Han Solo pistol. And it looked authentic. You know what I mean? It has like the scope on it. And I would just go around going, pew, 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 pew. So much that I think he wanted to like literally kill all of us maybe. Like it was like, you know, it's like
I
murder,
made a
suicide.
terrible mistake.
Yeah,
It's
it's like, why did we get him this?
I do that to my wife all the time. I buy all the terrible toys and then she wants to murder me.
The funny part was when the batteries died, I just literally with my mouth would say, pew, pew, pew.
Which is worse than the
Yeah,
batteries.
for hours. I mean, but because it was so rad.
Right, yeah.
It's a cool gift.
I remember loving it.
I mean,
which
you
is
rate
ironic
the
'cause
Star
I
Wars
hate it.
movies 10, so I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Anyway,
So one theory, he saw something or he got access to something.
this strangely makes this
Sense.
coherent.
Yeah.
Like we have something to hide, and again, it could be something crazy, fielding style. It
yeah.
could just be something. Hey, this is our secret base.
Yeah, this is an
Well,
this is
here's-
an exit to a military base
Yeah,
right.
where we load food in or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
We don't want people to know that this
This is where the
we
Jimmy
route.
John's comes.
Right.
Freaky fast.
Freaky fast, right?
Pretty fast. Tip your DoorDasher.
Interesting.
So here's the running
Tip your
theories.
DoorDasher, that's right.
Here's the running theories. One is that he just went out to the desert, committed suicide,
Yeah.
and no one's going to find him because he knew the area. Second is that he witnessed something he wasn't supposed to witness, whether it be like some rogue drug deal in the middle of the desert, or he
Could
got
be a
onto-
drug deal or something. True.
yeah,
Right.
or he got onto military land or saw something that he wasn't supposed to see, and the military took him out. Okay, made him disappear. Okay, or there is the possibility that Area 51 was built in the area that it was built in for a reason. There is people that believe that Nellis Air Force Base and Area 51 are connected through underground tunnels, and that
That makes sense to me too.
there is a possibility that that was strategically built there because Honeycomb Earth.
Oh yeah, let's go.
And that
Let's go.
when Area 51 was built, they built it there specifically because they found an entrance into the Earth, and they wanted to control that, collaborate with whoever's down there, or control whatever's going on down there.
now we're speaking my language.
You're getting my head hurting.
If
and
you
that's-
look at where, sorry, keep going.
And that's why Kenny stumbled along among an actual entrance into the Honeycomb Earth, and Area 51 and people at Nellis Air Force Base knew about it or didn't know about it, figured out that Kenny was going to find it and blow the whole thing wide open. So they made Kenny disappear
I
because...
mean, it makes sense that like the boring company stays in business, even though apparently they haven't bored any tunnels.
Right.
But maybe they are.
Yeah. You get into the whole Denver airport thing.
Yeah, which would be so dope. But okay, that is pretty interesting, except for the Honeycomb Earth piece.
Good thing we're not doing a spooky ghost episode right now,
Dude,
because
what was
that
that?
would
Just
have
That was probably.
that would have scared me.
Am I supposed to have another kid?
I was just telling my wife I want another one.
Oh,
Okay, so if you look at, sorry, I was cutting you off. Where you?
No, I'm done. I'm marveling at this because it actually is a weird one that is like, okay, you're a lunatic,
Right.
but also there's a lot of things if you touch on these other points that just makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Like to anybody could
So if
believe
you
anything.
look at where all of like our like national forests are around our
Don't
country,
attack the national forests.
and
Philly.
how many people go missing from those national forests, they like Daniel was saying, they're strategically placed there because of specific things.
Yeah,
So
like beautiful earth formations, trees.
yeah, but you also got to think, though, that beautiful formations on Earth that are unique for a reason and mark entrances into the Honeycomb Earth.
that's right.
So that's
Are
what
you a honeycomb earther?
I
Oh
am,
my gosh,
I am
you feel
starting.
it
As
I'm,
long as he's open, that's it. As long
I'm
as he's
open to it because there's a lot of things like, for instance, like we started in the episode, the underground city in the Grand Canyon, right? That is a conspiracy. You have
There is that old underground city in like Turkey or whatever.
that housed thousands
That's
of
like
people.
super deep down. And it's
Yeah.
like, how did they find their
There's
way
a
around? How
lot
did they
of-
light it?
There's a lot of things that are coming out
I'm gonna
that
stroke my beard.
there are things and cities and stuff like that under the ground. So I'm open to it.
Also,
Do I think it's like
where you would go as a civilization? You would go inside the Earth, right? The sun gives you cancer. There's asteroids. There's weather. There's all kinds of stuff.
When
Where
you
if
think
go
about, like,
inside the Earth,
asteroids that hit, like the Tuscunga? Is it the Tuscunga event? Tuscanyza?
Something like that, but
But the one
in
in
Siberia,
Russian, or Siberia, yeah, where it exploded, knocked down all those trees. You think if there was like a major event or something like that, or like a comet or something like hit, your natural thing would be we got to get underground to protect ourselves. So I'm open to it. Do I think that the Honeycomb Earth is like King Kong, where like they go inside the Earth and it's like this lush forest and this whole new world? I don't think it's like that. I think it's actually people underground.
oh yeah,
like Journey to the Center of the Earth. The
Yeah, I don't
OG
think it's like that.
movie.
there's giant.
I'm not there
bumblebees.
yet. I'm open to it. Just not there
I
yet.
think, yeah, this is going to go like back in the archive. You're not ready for it yet. It's okay. I can
Okay.
already tell.
Okay.
But there's like pyramids down there that are inside the Earth. They have their own tech. They have like weather
So this is
and
an
all
active
things like that.
civilization, is what you're saying.
Yes, yeah. So an advanced civilization that was.
Does
on
our
the
government
Earth.
know about them?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why.
that's because they work there with Area 51.
Well, they're in deals,
And that's
stuff
where they've
with
got
each
a
other.
lot of our tech and stuff. A lot of
So
people
Area
think it's
51's
from-
like aliens come, the honeycomb Earth people.
Well, supposedly,
Yeah.
aliens
Connect a couple
come
cables.
and met with, I think it's Eisenhower. And
Yeah,
the
Dwight
aliens were
Eisenhower.
like,
Dude, he's
hey, we're not from out there. We're from here.
So when he's like, beware the military-industrial complex, that was just a ruse to get us off the track.
Well, I don't think it was a ruse.
the-
I think he was saying they've made deals with the military-industrial complex for tech, protection, whatever. They've made deals with each other. It's outside of our government, so beware of them because they answer to no one. They're not governed by anybody. And now they've made deals with people that have tech that are way beyond anything we can imagine.
and that's where they're getting stuff.
And then you get into the shape of the earth, not that it's flat or round. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But they get into it could be a saucer. So one of my favorite ones is that the ice, Antarctica is an ice wall. And so the aliens, these extraterrestrials, are really just beyond that ice wall, and there's other continents and lands and things like that out there that exist. And that they can come in and visit, but they're not supposed to interact with us, right? So our government has deals with them. It's you don't come in here and blow the lid on any of this stuff, and we'll let you this or that. We'll
abduct, people and test on them or whatever.
Because there's Tucker Carlson, right? He's that guy from Fox News. Okay.
Yeah.
So he recently was on a show, and they was what are two of the things that you're really afraid of? And I can't remember what one of the other things was, but one of them was the extraterrestrial thing, and he's it's a spiritual battle, and he's and I don't even understand it really. He's but it's a spiritual thing, and they refer to us as containers. And he's
I
I won't even tell my wife because, and it's scary. And it's okay, well, if we're just food for these extraterrestrials, that's scary, right? But if we're containers, right? What do we believe as religion everywhere, right?
We have spirits.
We're spirits. We're not our bodies. We're spirits. So we're in these containers for a reason.
One of the best shows I've ever seen called them Sleeves.
Well, there you go.
What was it? It's on Netflix. It's called
Makes me feel like I should.
Altered Carbon.
Oh, I started that one.
Dude.
I didn't stick with it.
It's insane.
That's where they upload their consciousness.
And they got a little thing, their conscious in a little disc. And
it updates every 24 hours, right? So it follows
if you're
a
rich,
guy.
if you're super rich, it updates every 24
okay, all right.
Dude, the word sleeve makes me feel like I should be able to be on the podcast and go and it's
it basically was.
That's creepy, dude.
Altered Carbon is, I can't believe you quit it. It's got a lot of this weird stuff in it.
Well, a lot of reasons why I quit things is
Lazy.
it gets too it gets something Violent E, and my kid's in the room, so I'm I better turn it off.
You got to watch it.
I can't get back to it.
Shout out Angel Studios. You could just download a thing, watch it on your computer, and edit it.
And it just cleans it out. Okay.
It's,
I'm hey, where'd that character go?
Or,
and then I have to look
hey.
online. It's oh, he has his head blown off.
I
missed that.
You do sometimes have to maybe look up
Fill
this
in the
plot
blanks.
line.
Dude, me, I just embrace it. That's when I set my kids down. I'm you hold this axe, you hold this sword, and you take the AR, and just we'll all watch this together.
That's good. Raising your kids right.
Sometimes you got to teach kids that the Bible didn't say "Thou shalt not kill." It actually translates to "Thou shalt not murder," and murder is taking life.
That's true.
Without
there you go
by stealing it by
This reminds me,
taking
humans can justify anything.
Hey.
I'm just
saying if someone breaks in
ice wall.
if someone breaks into my house, it's game on.
Yeah.
True. It's true.
Game on. But anyways,
honeycomb Earth.
Yeah.
There's hollow Earth.
You guys have to teach me about the honeycomb Earth. That one's a bridge too far right now. I'd be interested to see if any of the other people want to comment on honeycomb Earth.
There's honeycomb
yes
Earth,
or no. Can we
hollow
put surveys
Earth,
on our freaking
there's
YouTube?
Flat Earth.
And
there's
or at least you can send them to our future website that's coming soon.
Oh yeah, should we drop the link or
not yet?
Okay,
not yet. We'll probably do that in a future episode because I got to get the domain and everything figured out. But yeah, it's coming. It's gonna be sick.
Shout out to Dallin for hooking us up.
Thanks, Dallin. Keep it commenting.
It's got some funny stuff in my food.
Before I eat them. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
My wife was like, "This guy know you?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, he does."
If you're not in the comment section, it's getting good.
Yeah.
It's getting good. So definitely comment. Tell us what you think. But yeah, this one was. I liked this story because I think it brings to light some of the things I think that are happening that we're not aware of. But two, it's something recent. Something that happened in the last 10 years, and that's kind of where it like caught me off guard a little bit. Because again, like I said, to this day, Kenny's never been found. They never found his clothing. They never found his body. They haven't found any of his camping gear. They couldn't even find tracks.
Weird. Like, where are those anonymous people? And the people that, I mean, I was joking about the Shia LaBeouf thing earlier, but how do they not look at that video and then be like, oh, here's where it is? It was, here was the date range, and then this plane flew over, and there's the moon came out, and it's like, you know what I mean? I am actually surprised.
I think because deep down, those people are like, they're just trolls, and it's funny because Shia LaBeouf's like, oh, Trump's dividing us, and blah, blah,
maybe
blah, blah.
Shia should
and
go
so
on
they're
bed.
like
He'll never
trolling
fight Kenny Veach.
Right.
And if Shia
if
gets
he
involved,
makes it political, then
yeah,
they'll be like, oh, what a
okay.
dummy. Let's
Okay.
tear him apart. And then they'd go and find it. And
I freaking still love Shia LaBeouf, for the record, unapologetically.
yeah.
Even with Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
I love it.
I loved it, and I'm sad that they didn't use him in future.
Yeah.
I wanted Shia LaBeouf to take the reins of the Indiana Jones story and move it forward, and
Holes was next level.
Holes was next.
Holes was when Disney. I'm so sad what Disney's done to itself.
Well, I heard, and I don't know if this is real or not, but I heard that, is it Bob Iger? He's the one who like retired, and they were like, "Hey, we're taking comeback."
Please help us.
And he was like, the quote was like, "We need to start with like stories and not agendas, but like." I can't think of the word, but it was like, we need to do messaging second. It was messaging.
Was it propaganda?
Yeah, basically. He's like, we need to do messaging, like, should not be our main thing. It should be good stories.
And then he's going to make $300 million or whatever.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Just saying the obvious.
Yeah.
Like how? Yeah,
and they're in the studio room. They're going to be like, what a visionary. We could not figure this out.
Wait, you're telling me that for years we've just been making stories?
He just goes back to hitting golf balls on the freeway.
Into the freeway, into people's windshields.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm Bob Iger.
Yeah. Everyone would be like, oh my gosh.
I get 6 murders a year. Everyone knows this.
His ball says Bob Iger on it, so when it sticks in your windshield, you're like, oh,
So
Bob
Mickey
Iger.
Mouse ears on it.
Yeah.
Hey, no way. Take a picture of that. Post it.
He like pulls his silenced gun out. It's just little
Mickey Mouse ears that he's using as like his iron sights. Yeah. And it's Mickey's nose on the front sight.
Like seriously, sick. Like the Disney I grew up with, I remember every Sunday night they had just like a family movie, the Disney night, and it was like an event. Everyone would go home, they would get popcorn. So at 7:00, the freaking Disney movie starts, and we'd be ready to watch it. And it was like these dumb.
Isn't that where like Xenon came from and Xenon the Zequel?
The only one I really remember was this one called like,
which is dope, by the way.
Buggity Boo, or it was the Boogaloo Man, and it was supposed to be like the Boogeyman, but it was like the Disney's version of the Boogeyman. I remember I was pretty scared, but looking back, it was like Goosebumps. They were like kind of like Goosebumps level shows.
Okay.
Which are legendary. My kids love Goosebumps.
They're like some on Netflix, and we started like, it was like, Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps, something like that. And it was like, they were like older things, but like watching with my kids, it was fun watching my kids like get scared. They get like zoned in.
Some of them, no joke, the storylines, like they do with the kids, and it's cheesy and it's B level. And I'm telling you, you give this to like freaking Christopher Nolan, and it's going to be like a really good story.
Yeah,
there's
anyway.
probably a lot of them like that.
Yeah. Well, dude, I love this M Cave. Learning about it, I like it because to me it's almost like a foundation that we could come out of the M Cave and talk about so many different things, like Vegas, all the freaking stuff that happens in Vegas.
Yeah,
the flights. Who's the guy that came out and talked about he worked at Area 51 when he'd fly out of Vegas, and he touched the alien spacecraft. He was on Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
and he has like PTSD from the whole thing. And
it's Bob something.
Bob Lazar, yeah.
Bob Lazar, yeah.
Yeah. He's got some crazy stories.
And it is kind of weird you guys bring up, and I have never really thought of it, but it's like, yeah, there are like these points. I mean, like Las Vegas or maybe Area 51, what do you want to call it, Nellis, or whatever that you call that area. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff.
Well, and I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or not, but there's like this thing. I'm going to go off on a tangent again really fast, but I'll be short. That it's like Project Looking Glass is what it's called, and you can like look into the future. So like good side, bad side are both using this thing to try and look in the future. And there's this event that happens that no matter what they do, no matter what they change, this event continues to happen. And people are like, oh, it's a second coming. And then other people are like, oh no. But what I think it is it's just people wake up. And once you wake up, you really can't go back to sleep. So once you see the news for what it is, you see media and you see all this stuff, you just like, nobody watches the news anymore, right? And they used to have a strangle on everything.
What would it take to believe the news again? Like, even if I wanted to.
I don't know.
I don't
like
know.
Joe Rogan starts being the
he's worked at Fox or CNN.
Whoever
I think you
that
have to
main guy
have
was.
like a reset in the sense of like everyone becomes aware, and these conglomerates that have been created over media just fail.
Yeah.
And then there's some kind of crazy new world.
Almost
Order?
like when America started.
World
it's
order?
like they
Right.
basically
That's what we
threw
call it.
off all the shackles. America started.
Right. It would have to be something like that happens again. Because I was watching,
That's
what's that
interesting.
one with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio? It's on Hulu now as a movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something like that.
Yeah.
And as I'm watching it, everybody's like excited to go home and watch this FBI show. And all I think is like, oh, that's just like brainwashing Americans into like FBI's good and they're saving and protecting you.
There's so many
And I'm
FBI
like,
shows where
I'm
they're
like,
just
that's,
heroes. And
that's
I'm like,
all it is. And even back then, they were trying to set up like, hey, we're the good guys, like all this stuff. And I'm like, how many people think like I do and watch that and just think, oh, that's just like, that's just a political thing that they're trying to like indoctrinate us.
Even
and
like-
once you start seeing that, you can't
Unsee
turn
it.
that off.
like even people
in everything.
like my wife who isn't like she's like, so what? I mean, there's usually so what? I have to raise my family. She's just not really interested in it.
Right,
but it's possible.
Right.
But even her is just like cynical about
Yeah.
cops, which I love. I'm a cop supporter,
Right.
but
Yeah,
but I'm
same.
cynical about it, and it's almost being forced into my brain because of it comes to my phone, and it's just weird because I love cops. I don't want to live in a society without cops.
No, I don't
Same.
either.
Without rule of law, that's
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh, cops. And I'm
Yeah.
like, where's that thought coming from? Am I generating it, or
Yeah.
is it being generated
It's being
for
fed
me?
to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so once you start seeing that stuff, it's like, it's so hard to think of all this other stuff. So sorry, tie it back in. Like, I think, he probably stumbled onto a cave that either that's where they would test fly things or something. He saw something he wasn't supposed to. Somebody gave him a warning. He didn't listen. So they got rid of him.
Really, 2 warnings. 1, made him sick. 2,
Yeah.
told him.
Literally
think-
said, do
yeah.
not go back there.
I agree. I think the second time he went back and actually either he found the same. I don't think he found the same cave. I think he found another cave that he wasn't supposed to see, something worse.
Yeah.
And I think they just deleted him.
But I also think it could be like there's not a chance that like drug cartel they don't have this tech or these abilities,
They
right?
could be using
So
the tunnels.
it could be something like that, right? He stumbled into like a drug tunnel, and then somebody's going to blow the whistle on your $5 billion a month
It took you like
drug tunnel thing.
It took you like 2.5 years of
Yeah.
digging with buckets to get there.
And then
Plastic
some
spoons.
motorhead pothead guys like,
Bruh.
hey bro, I'm gonna have to like put you down
Yeah.
if you go back.
Redwoods Originals.
Right. So like
He probably sent that
Government-
message and was like threading on his suppressor afterwards. He's like, send.
yeah, puts on
Do it,
lipstick.
Kenny.
Billy Madison.
That's good.
You're a beautiful girl.
That's one area that Sandler hasn't done yet is like a good old conspiracy movie.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
But yeah, that's what we're gonna go home tonight and sleep and think about. is not going. My advice: don't go to the Mojave Desert searching around. Stay on the trails, because the trails that are out there.
I've learned that.
Yeah.
Never go off trail.
Don't hike.
Don't hike. I think that there's
Actually, don't exercise.
What I actually recommend
Smarter.
is just going on your Apple TV and hitting the menu button enough times that the screensaver comes up, and then just swipe left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll see the world. You get
It's like you've
it's
been there.
4K, and I'm doing it on my.
I have
living
Roku,
room.
Why?
which is still pretty cool because it kind of rotates. It just shows like every
like hidden things in
little
them.
hidden. Yeah, you got to find like old movies. It's pretty cool.
I didn't know that. My kid was watching some YouTube video, some dad going through and showing everything, and then I was like, "No way!" My parents have Roku, so I was over there one time watching it, and it was like, "Oh yeah, there's all the like
It's
Ninja
actually
Turtles."
pretty-
And, like they update it.
Yeah, and
So
now it's
there's
like now it has
constantly
like
new things.
Dune. It has like a worm coming out of the
Yeah,
That's sick.
That is cool.
Well,
Well, thanks everybody for watching.
okay, we'll be back
Thanks
next
for joining us.
week.
Back next week.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah,
but we'll be back.
We took a break. We're gonna come back next week with more content, more stuff.
Don't worry, Kevin. We're coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.